and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a number of changes to tonight's agenda, which is unusual for us, but let me call out the changes. First of all, we have postponed our recognition for the Community Council Design Team until June 18th. It's called Because of Weather. I have two changes into the consent agenda, and I am going, we also have our closed session is now just going to be dealing with our MSRS Health Savings Plan. And we have we have changes to the consent agenda, so I will cover those as we deal with each item. Most significantly is we have modified the agenda to reflect the addition of a consent item letter H, which would be a resolution to approve settlement of Jacob versus Olmsted County Court File Number 55 CV 222347, and there are copies at the dais for each commissioner. Are we having trouble with projection? Microphones are not working, or just mine?
Hello?
Well, let's do a little roll call here. We'll start with Wright. Let's check the microphones.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3.
Burt Ryan,
Brian Mueller?
Sandrum here.
Kiskaden,
Test.
Testing. Check 1, check 2.
want to sing too? Okay. Are the microphones working?
No.
All right, move them closer. All right, thank you. Sorry about the inconvenience. All right, so moving into our consent agenda. Item A will be to approve the May 7th, 2024 County Board minutes. Item B, on your desks, we have a revised resolution to approve the termination of Home Time Haulers LLC Class A license and sale to WM, formerly known as Waste Management. There was a very slight language change in that resolution, members, if you want to take a look at that. It was something Commissioner Senjum identified. Item C is to approve application to the Department of Natural Resources Snowmobile Trail Assistance Program. Item D is to approve the lottery and Disabled American Veterans deer hunts at Chester Woods and Oxbow Park. Item E is to award a contract for the State Aid Program 055-605-018 and State Aid Program 055-625-0026. Item F is to approve a document extinguishing pedestrian easement on the county's green parking lot benefiting Circle K gas station on 4th Street Southeast. Item G is to convey excess right-of-way along County State Highway CASA 3 back to the adjacent landowners via a quitclaim deed. Item H is the addition to adopt a resolution approving the settlement of Jacob versus Olmsted County Court File Number 55-CV-22-2347. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, just to ask, was that with the amended version of item B on home time haulers?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's the amended version that's before you.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The motion prevails. Well, I think we will move immediately then to board and committee reports. We have asked Commissioner Tyne to report on the Southeast Minnesota Emergency Communications Board, and then to report also on the Emergency Medical Services Joint Powers Board.
Neither of those committees met since our last.
They've not met?
No.
So do you have any sort of general updates on what the issues are that they're addressing?
No. It's been a while since we've had a meeting on either one.
Okay, well, I think we know that emergency medical services did well in the legislative session. And I don't remember the total amount, but in the closing chaos of the last day, they did agree on a very substantial increase for emergency medical services, which hopefully will help those two bodies.
Right.
Are there other committee reports people would like to make?
I have a committee report
Thank you.
from the Rochester Public Library, and I'll try to get close here. The RPL is putting together a master plan, a community engaged and co-designed comprehensive needs assessment for the next 20 years. The library is welcoming ideas for its future, and they're asking consultants and groups with library experience to submit proposals for the library facilities and operations master plan. It's meant to be aspirational in its vision and practical and manageable for implementation, with specific attention to quantifying the service capacity of the existing main library, bookmobile, book box, digital branch, and evaluating other library service delivery methods in the context of current and future service program needs for the city of Rochester and Olmsted County. And my sense is that this is in response to two initiatives for physical expansion that didn't come to pass. So the expansion here is for the services and the resources they offer, and how they can really optimize those resources throughout the community in new ways. Thank you.
Commissioner Rossman? Mr. Tiny, other report? Commissioner Wright?
No report.
Any other?
No report.
Commissioner Senchum?
I will just report, yesterday we had an afternoon retreat at the Olmsted County History Center. A lot of focus around the future and the unveiling of the strategic plan for the campus. A lot of energy in that group, and looking forward to, again, the unveiling of that plan, and a lot of a lot of talk about fundraising and going forward. So a good positive meeting. And then last week I had an occasion to attend, I think it's the annual meeting, at the annual gala of the Land Trust, Minnesota Land Trust Group in Minneapolis, and pretty interesting. It's amazing amount of land in Minnesota that's going into trust for environmental purposes. A lot of dedicated people there.
I'll just report that the Human Services Committee this morning heard heard an update from Family Service Rochester that is looking at creating a family resource center, and been doing some strategic planning and community needs assessment, and intends to use a community design board to create a family resource center. Family resource centers serve the entire population and really work around the issues of what promotes family stability and good development for children. They're actively investigating it, have received Sauer Family Foundation funds for the first phase, and are seeking both funding from the Department of Human Services and from Sauer Family Foundation to continue the development of that process. We also heard an update at Commissioner Senjum's request on the progress staff are making on the mental health advisory, the recommendations on youth mental health that we received from the Human Services Advisory Committee, and we can report that good progress is being made there as well. I mentioned at the admin committee this morning that I attended Minnesota Futures last week, and I reported on most things, but one of the other data pieces that I thought was so interesting was that we spent quite a bit of time talking about joint powers boards and the challenges that counties have in forming these collective collaborations, formal collaborations around service delivery. And it was pointed out that maybe we need to expand our thinking to beyond the formal legal joint powers board approach to memorandums of understanding and other kinds of arrangements that will allow counties to more readily collaborate on service delivery or data collection or whatever. So that was interesting. And then we had a report from the department, from DEED, and we are presently at the place that we have 2 job openings for every available worker. And DEED went in to look at how they're now not working so much at they're still working on career force, getting people trained for positions, but they're also working more with employers around what employers need to do to be attractive to employees, to provide on-the-job training, to provide other kinds of amenities that people will want to work for those employers. And they pointed out the demographics that we sometimes hear at this bench about the aging of our population and the fact that we are going to rely on immigrants for population growth in Minnesota. Finally, they gave us we had a presentation on the rural-urban divide from Minnesota Extension, and looking at the myth and their opinion of the rural-urban divide and how it's affecting our public policy making. But one of the charts that was most interesting was a chart of about how many counties in Minnesota are 25% or more people of color, and they're mostly rural counties, which we don't think of. We tend to think of, you know, the metro area being have more ethnic diversity. So I thought that was sort of interesting as well. But as we look at our own workforce issues and our own recruitment, some of those factors we need to keep in mind. So we are going to recess for a closed session to discuss the MSRS Health Savings Plan, and we will resume our meeting at the call of the chair. I assume we are moving to conference room 2. So we are.
We've got trees down around the area, but the river's going up.
Your power's out. Did you say your power's out?
Jessica Nats.
Shall I wait for Sanjam or shall I reconvene? I'm going to call the county board back to order from our recess. During our recess, we discussed, we were briefed on the opportunity to participate in the MSRS Health Savings Plan. No decision has been made as yet. Staff from HR will do follow-up, and at a future meeting date, I'm anticipating by the first meeting in June, we will make a decision about whether or not the board wants to participate in the MSRS Health Savings Plan. With that, I think there's just one more or small order of business, which is I have 2 quotes for you. 2 quotes, partly because they're related and partly because last time I forgot. But they actually are related. So, first quote is from Dianne Feinstein, who said, 90% of leadership is the ability to communicate something people want. However, another woman leader said, a leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be. That was Rosalind Carter. I just realized they were both Democratic women, and so I apologize to anyone who finds that offensive. But I thought the juxtaposition was interesting, and it's one of the things that we face as leaders is we do have to communicate what people want, but we also have to be willing to take people to where they don't necessarily want to go, but where they ought to be. And so with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor signify
Aye.
by saying